Vince is calculating the dollar signs. So to go back there, I could see visually he was, to Vince, looked like a better package to draw money than me because I'd been around for a while.
But also maybe a fresh horse.
Yes.
Because you had been around.
Yes, a fresh horse. But when we were going to do the WrestleMania thing, we did the build-up pretty darn good. And then Vince told me the finish. And my question is always, whether I'm going over or not, why are we doing this? And what's next? And so when Vince told me he wanted me to put the Warrior over, I said, okay, well, why are we doing this? And then where we go from here? He goes, well, I kind of think that the red and yellow run is pretty much over, and I think, we've kind of got everything we can out of the red and yellow thing. And, let's just kind of take a little break from this, but I want you to put Jim over. And I went, damn, Vince, what about after the finish? And I point to God and I give him the belts and everything. I go halfway down that aisle and I do that stop and I do that slow Three Stooges turn. Slowly I turn. And I go back, and when he's up there celebrating, I gaff his ass, and I crucify him, and I call myself Triple H, Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Oh, that'll never work. You can't be a heel. You've been a babyface. I said, Vince, I was a heel when I first came in here. I can be a heel, but now I know more. I can be a great heel. Vince says, no, you can't be a heel. So Vince kind of squashed the Hollywood Hulk Hogan deal. And we had a couple years there that were kind of turbulent, where they put the belt on the Warrior, and they had to take the belt right off him because he wasn't drawn, But when I was in the ring with him, I told him in the back room, which I never did, I kind of laid the match out for him. Not everything, but I laid out this, and I probably had A, B, C, D, E. And what we did in the middle wouldn't matter, but we're going to hit these A, B, C, D, E spots. And so we got going in the match, and I could tell right away, we did the push-off stuff and the strongman stuff and all that stuff. And I started chopping meat a little bit on him, and I could tell he was blown sky high. So I put a rear chin lock on him as I held him down. I said, brother, just breathe and calm down. And he's going, no, man, let's go home now. Let's go home. I'm going, brother, we've only got about 5 or 6 minutes, and we're not going home. And I told him, he goes, oh, no, let's go home now. Because the crowd was rumbling. He goes, let's go home. I said, no, brother, you're going to have to press me over your head in the gorilla press, and I'm going to kick out of your finish before we go home. I told him that in the ring. So I got him to calm down, and we got through it. He would hit the ropes in the wrong direction and run the wrong way, and I was used to that.
Yeah.
And the match was okay, but the fact that he blew up so fast was hard because he really couldn't press me over his head.
You're a big dude.
And it turned out good, but I didn't have a problem putting him over. But when I asked why are we doing this or where are we going next, I didn't get the answer I wanted. So I kind of had a hard on from that point on,
One of the things I've always really appreciated about you was, and it comes with anybody that's lasted a long time, but you were on top for a super long time and drawing huge money, taking care of yourself, because you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah. But what a lot of people don't understand is you have to take care of the other guy more than yourself. And what a lot of people don't realize about this business, and there's just two quick points I'm going to say is, first off, this business was a little tough for me when I went to New York when I beat the Sheik, because to me it was a shoot and this business was not a work. Anytime a man makes, like if I wrestle you and you make more money than me, that's a shoot. I want your spot. And when I went back to work in 84, Vince Sr. always paid the champion more money. And that was a shoot to me. If we're all doing jobs and it doesn't matter if you win or lose, we make the same amount of money. It's a work. But when someone's making more money, to me, that's a shoot. So when I went back and Vince took over, I tried to hold him to that as long as I could, that the champion always makes more money. So that was one of the things, that I fought for. The other thing that I fought for on top of that, which I lost that battle eventually, then I hung on for a long time. The other thing I fought for was making sure whoever I worked with, whether they beat me or whether it was a DQ or they did a job, they were worth more money going out than they were going in. And one of the things to keep myself alive in that Warrior, like I had to go to people like the one-man gang. And what people don't realize is when I was working with Vince, if I went to the Philadelphia Spectrum and I said, hey, Roddy, Vince wants to beat you with a leg drop, or hey, Orndorff, Vince wants me to do the leg drop, they said, I'm not doing a fucking job today. Well, there was no control like it is now. I'd call Vince back and say, hey, Vince, I know you want me to beat Piper, but he doesn't want to do a job today. Well, goddamn it, work it out. I said, okay. So it was a wild, wild west back then. So I had to sit down with these guys and on a camaraderie level and get along with them. And if they didn't want to put me over, I said, well, what else can we do to make this work? And the last thing I want is someone else coming in here and taking your place and making this main event money because we were going to come back for 2 and 3. So since you don't want to do that finish, what can we do to make this work? And throw it back at them. Since you don't want to put me over, you don't want to DQ. Sometimes the Hulk Hogan thing, I hate to say this, but the Hulkmania thing was over so strong. I could beat you, and as I was posing, if you'd come back and ground me and I'd get some color, we'd sell out again just for you jumping me after the fact. So I would always throw it back at these guys with the finishes that didn't want to do jobs for me. Piper never did a job for me. And years later, we became good friends, and I stuck it up his ass going, can you imagine how much money you'd have made, Piper, if I could have trusted you to flip the belt like Macho? And he'd go, and Piper, God damn it, he knew how he'd get. Yeah. But I would always tease Piper later on in life because he would never put me over. I said, if you'd put me over, can you imagine? I could have kept putting the belt on you 4 or 5 times, flipping it back and forth, and I was doing movies, you were doing movies, but you never got the belt because you wouldn't do a job. So I always would take care of the guys. So when I was doing the Warrior thing and he wanted to go home early, I had to take care of myself because I'm putting him over. And one of the things I really needed was to kick out of his finish to show that I'm still Hulk Hogan. Yep. And then when you beat me, you're really beating a bigger monster because I've kicked out of your finish. You know, and then you come back and beat me. It's going to be good for you, but it helps me too. So my whole mindset the whole time I worked with plan A, plan B, or plan C, like I talked about, the Hulk Hogan finishes, were to protect my opponents so I could come back and draw money with them. I'd go like to the Garden with Randy Savage 3-4 times in a row and sell the place out 3-4 times in a row just with Randy because he would do the right finishes with me. You know, so it worked.